Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
This is gonna be another ramble type video with my trusty co-host Alpaca Laka, as you've
Yep.
already said hello.
Oh,
So yeah,
listen.
this is gonna be a little bit less focused on the free-to-play sort of podcast type thing that we did. But the main thing, or the main theme of this video is just gonna be stuff like old RS memories, and maybe we'll get into some other stuff as the video goes on. But yeah, I guess if you want to go first, you can talk about how you got into RuneScape and some early memories that you remember about this game.
Oh, yeah, man. Uh, yeah. So I found it through. I would have been six, I think. I think seven. I would have been seven, and my friends. Oh, I was at my friend's, just fucking around on the computer, and his older brother, who was about 2 years older than us, showed us RuneScape and helped us make an account. So yeah, my account was born. It was initially called fucking Poo at 6 p.m. because I was seven and I thought that was really funny. And I think my first day was just, yeah, I didn't, I obviously I had no understanding of the game. I was just convinced I wanted to be a mage. So got off Tutorial Island, got to Varrock. Some random guy just gave me money and I went ahead and bought one of each of the elemental staffs and that was all my money gone. And I think that was my first day.
Nice. Yeah, so I think for me, I started actually much later. Well, not later as in time wise, but older. I started like I think around 9 years old, and the reason I got in was because it was the summer of '07, and I believe my parents were both working, so uh, they needed a place to put me or someone to watch me after. And there was this like Christian academy school thing, whatever, that over the summer they basically did like an aftercare program where they'll watch your kids and they'll do activities like some sports and games. And one of those activities was they had a computer lab, and on that computer lab, people would play stuff like Oregon Trail, School Tycoon, and also RuneScape was one of them. So I messed around. I played a bunch of School Tycoon, which was pretty fun, but we mostly just ended up activating cheats after a little while and then getting bored of the game. I didn't play too much Oregon Tycoon, or not Oregon Tycoon. Was it Oregon Trail, right?
Tycoon.
Oregon
Oh yeah.
Tycoon. That'd be fun.
Nah, yeah. That doesn't seem like a very Christian game. Maybe not. I don't know. Isn't that the one where they like die of like influenza or some shit at the end?
Oh, that's very Christian then. They die all the time from disease and like Christian. Don't they do that a lot in the Bible? Like
Oh,
I don't know. I was never very Christian, but
but that
uh,
was pretty atheist pilled of you, man. You just like trying to end religion there, saying that it's full of diseases and shit.
well, I mean it was, isn't it? Like don't they like doesn't God bring down like the locusts and stuff?
Yeah, well, I don't think locusts are like a disease, if you ask me.
Well, no, he
That's a
brought down plague and locusts.
oh yeah, yeah. The plague is definitely one, but I don't think dying of influenza on the Oregon Trail is from God. Well,
Well, they were
maybe.
making like a pilgrimage, I think,
No,
to
I think Oregon Trail is like not a pilgrimage. I think they were like finding a place to live.
All right. Well, the point is, I didn't play very much Oregon Trail, but it was one of the games that people
I
played.
can tell your Oregon Trail knowledge is terrible.
Yeah, I probably played it like once or twice, and I didn't get very far. Being like 9 years old. But yeah, one of the games was RuneScape, and there was like I think there was like one kid who was like kind of getting everyone else into it. He had like the higher level account, which is probably at the time was like combat level 20 or something. And yeah, so I made an account because of that, and I remember the next day, like I showed it to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you got to level 7 combat, good job." And I was like, just doing the most random shit in game as one does. I think the first day I pretty much just walked around Lumbridge. I remember I specifically didn't want to go too far because back then there was like no in-game map or anything. It was just like the static one that you get on the website, and uh, I was like really afraid that I would get lost, so I didn't go past like Fred's farm in Lumbridge or anything. And I think early on, for some reason, I really enjoyed like smithing. I thought smithing was just like the coolest skill ever. So I would do that thing where you walk down to the Lumbridge copper and tin mine, You mined some stuff, you smelt in the Lumbridge furnace, and you would go all the way over to Draenor and then like make the best bronze armor you could. And I did that for quite a while. I don't know how far I got, but that must have been really, really slow. Yeah, early days. I guess a little bit later than that, I was doing a lot of different quests. I was still free to play at the time, and I eventually made my way up to Dragon Slayer, but I got sort of hard stuck at Dragon Slayer because there's that one map piece where you need to get either 31 magic for Telegram for the map piece, or you
Oh
need to
yeah,
get
or
10k.
10K.
Yeah, yeah, and both of those were like impossible for me at the time. I was probably like 10 years old or something, and I had no idea how to like make money or how to really train magic, you know. Obviously, you needed some money to buy runes for magic, which I didn't have. So yeah, I was just like trying to make money any way I could for the 10k. I remember I looked up this one guide, you know, the money making guides of '07, and it was literally just I think it was kill cows in Lumbridge, tan their hides in Alcarid, and sell them. And I, for some reason, like I understood the concept of trading other people, but I didn't understand the concept that you could get way more money if you sold items to players than general stores. I thought general stores were just as good. So what I did was I tried that method out for a while, and I got loads of hides, and I sold them to the general store, and I was like, this is complete trash. But yeah, eventually somehow I think I managed to make the 10k, and I finished Dragon Slayer, and that was really fun. I think not too long after that, I managed to get myself membership as well. Do you remember like what point you got membership on your account?
I think when I got like the free to play quest shape kind of equivalent.
Yeah, so like same as me. Once you did Dragon Slayer,
Yeah,
I think that was the big thing. You
I
finished
think
Dragon
like
Slayer.
if you can like prove to like your parents that like you've stuck it around enough to do that, you basically complete like what was seen as the game for free to play at the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
has to be.
remember like being downstairs on the family computer playing like RuneScape in the summer, and I was doing Dragon Slayer, and I remember like I was telling my parents like, yeah, I'm on a quest to slay a dragon, and they were like, oh, cool. They had no idea what the game was or anything, but I think after that I asked for membership, and I eventually got it, and that from there I started just. I think my main thing in members was for some reason I really enjoyed quests. Like I really thought unlocking all those areas and items were really cool, and I like reading the quest
Um,
dialogues and stuff. So
do you remember Rune HQ?
yeah, I used Rune HQ a lot back
Man,
then.
Rune HQ was fucking great. Like, I was really disappointed that when I came back from old school to old school, that Rune HQ just wasn't a thing, and like obviously Wiki has taken over, which is why wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think out of all the fan sites, Rune HQ is the one I use the most. Like I use Tippet a little bit, especially for like the treasure trails thing. They had a pretty good one, I think. But I didn't use anything else like Salzram. Like I've heard of it, but I never used it.
I only used Rune HQ. I was really not tech savvy at all, but I mean I'm still not, but majorly worse back then.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
remember I
back in the day, it was like so different, right? Like people didn't just know how to do everything. Like I remember for most of the quests I did on my account, like the first time around, I literally did them like the way you're kind of intended to, where you just sort of figure it out from the chat dialogues and like try to figure out what items you need. It took me forever, but it was fun for me at the time. And I only started using Rune HQ when I was like stuck. Do you remember like when they had that tip system on the main website where you could get like 3 quest tips a day?
no, I never used that.
I used that like a couple times because I was like I really didn't want to spoil myself for all the quests and like how to do it. So I was like, oh man, what do I need for this quest, or how do I get past this puzzle? I remember I don't even remember what quests I used it on, but I just know I was like very strict with myself. I didn't want to look up the guides unless I was really stuck. But yeah, it was just something I was really going for. I was like trying to get Questcape, and I think I actually got it eventually. But yeah,
Jesus.
basically the only reason I would level skills is to do a quest. It was kind of ridiculous.
I played for about for about 4 years, I'd say, from when I was 7 till I was 11, I played, and I my highest score was 67. I under 100 quest points if I had to guess and stuff. Really didn't get anywhere. I remember one time I went from 99 herb got to like 30. I didn't understand that. It just never really crossed my mind that Bibles were a thing. So I was like, oh, how about I should just sell this back, do it, doing like 100 pots at a time.
Yeah.
And,
I
and
mean,
I was
you
like
don't
filling the
understand how
vials.
big the gap is between like 30 and 90 is.
Oh yeah. Well, I never got above 70, but I remember I trained all my combats at cows because I was like, oh, it's cost effective to uh because I'm one hit in the cows, it must be the fastest XP an hour.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't using food, I was like, oh, it's cost effective. And my friends were using rock crabs, and I couldn't find rock crabs. So I couldn't find Relica, so I just I never did rock crabs. So my training methods were yeah, where I killed cows, and then for money I would kill unicorns, because unicorn horns were 1k each on the Grand Exchange at one point.
Oh, they were so good. I think I did that for money as well.
It seemed really good at the time. I remember one time I was on holiday somewhere, and I was like had a little notepad, and I was trying to calculate how many green dragons I had to kill to like afford a Abyssal Whip,
Oh yeah.
because my goal was 70 attack for an Abyssal Whip. So that's why I was 67. I was nearly there, but never got there. But so yeah, on holiday I was like, oh, how many green dragon bones do I need to sell? And then I went to Green Dragons, and this was after Revenants came out, and I got fucking destroyed because I didn't have 43 prayer. I don't even know if I had 37. I don't think I had 37 prayer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember prayer was really difficult,
Yeah.
especially because I didn't know about POH altars for a long time.
Oh man, no, I probably manually buried bones on the floor
Mm.
if I had to guess for my prayer because I definitely did not know about like POHs.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty sure
I
my
was just
friends
so
left me like
clueless
that,
about the game for a very long time. Probably most of
man.
my RS2 days, honestly.
I had so much fun, but I was doing nothing. Like
Yeah.
I did nothing. I remember I one time went into Barbarian Assault with a few of my friends, and we couldn't get past wave one. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just like clicking the horn and then just doing nothing. We didn't know what was going on.
Oh yeah,
And I
that's
think
true.
that the stuff like that I'm quite fond of. Just I had no clue what I was doing, but I loved every second of it.
Yeah, dude. Like I remember back in the I don't know when this was. I think maybe late 2007, early 2008. I was like I'd worked my way up. This must have been 2008 because I got members to go to Karamja, the members area. But anyway, I worked my way up. I got some good gears. I think I had like mithril or addy armor. I don't remember what it was. And I went to Karamja and I went exploring on that island. And I remember, you know, like a lot of people, I found out about the poison tribesmen on Karamja. And obviously I didn't have an anti-poison. I didn't know you could buy one from the general store. And I just fucking ran around trying to get food and I didn't make it and I died. And back then,
Oh,
it was so devastating because like all your stuff would basically be gone. It'd only be on the floor for like 2 minutes or something. And yeah, I remember I lost all my items and I was just so depressed. Like I logged off and I just fucking went, off the computer and I just sat on the couch or something for a while and I just stared at the wall. I was like, oh man, yeah, all that work gone. But I eventually came back. Obviously, I
yeah,
just remember like early stuff like that. It was very hardcore as a
man.
little kid.
I remember my best friend at the time. He he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy gold," and I didn't understand. I didn't understand that like what real world trade was or what. So like he went and bought I don't know 4 mil or something
Oh yeah.
for an extortionate amount of money. And I think this was when they would need. It wasn't that you traded them. They went onto his account because he got like 30 mining levels when he got the account back a week later. So I think they just either botted
They made the money
or
on his account. That's
yeah,
interesting.
they mined like a bunch of ore on his account over a week, and they must have bought it if I had to guess. And
Yeah.
then he had like this however many mil he bought, and I remember he he like wouldn't talk to me in game when he got the money. Like he bought he bought elegant robes and a cavalier, and just walked off with some rich. He got scammed a week later. and all that was drawn. But I remember being very sad because I was like, oh, I don't have a mil. I think I'd never had more than like 100K at a time.
Yeah,
And
dude, it was really. I remember one of the earliest money makers that I actually used to buy my first sort of expensive item was I would go to Karamja, and you know the little horseshoe gold mine.
yeah,
Yeah, so I would go there. I would mine the gold. I would use the Shiloh Village cart to go all the way back to Shiloh Village. I would bank. I would repeat that until I had a lot of gold, and I would sell it. And then I would use that to eventually afford dragon plate legs, which I remember was like huge for me at the time. It was,
yeah,
I think, way more
that's
expensive
big.
than it is now, right? It's like
But
was
those were a lot.
it was like 600K or something, which is
Yeah, nothing really dropped them. So like, yeah,
yeah, and it was actually a lot of people wanted them because even though they didn't have strength bonus, they were like I
they
think
were
tacits
fashion.
were just
Like,
insanely expensive for most people, you know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, no one was really like the drip was like dragon legs, like and all of that.
Oh yeah, nowadays if you see someone in full dragon, you're like they're new. But if you saw someone in full dragon back then, you were like, holy shit, they're rich. They're
Man,
really good at the game.
like dragon chain body was such a flex.
Oh yeah, dude, it was so good.
Like, man, like, oh, I saw Zezima when it was 2007 Christmas.
Oh
He was
really?
like, I remember I must have logged on in the morning before like my parents woke up. Just hopped on the laptop and I was just in Varrock and there was just people just saying, oh, Zezima's in the GE. And so I just, yeah, ran over to the Grand Exchange because I think it was a few days after the Grand Exchange had opened up or like became a thing.
Oh
And yeah,
yeah.
he was just stood there. I think he was an adamant, even though he was 126. Or so, oh, maybe not one.
I don't think
It was
I've ever
whatever.
seen him in game, but I remember what people used to do. They add them to their friends list and wait for him to turn private on. And I remember I watched one of those videos that I think he put out where he shows what happens when he turns his private on, like how many messages he gets. That's always fun. I remember I used to watch so much RuneScape YouTube back in the day.
I think it was 2007 or 2008 that he was, I think, in the Guinness Book of Records, but also
Oh yeah,
he was like the top 10 person that people like wanted to meet or aspired to be or something
he
when
was
interviewing kids.
ridiculously famous, man. I gotta say.
Yeah, he was even even with streaming now, I think no one's reached that level of like even with like fucking Boaty and shit. Like I don't think any like the whole world just filled up and all went to G just to see a man just stood there doing nothing.
Yeah, like I mean, Bodhi's a big player in OSRS, but OSRS is like not what RuneScape in
Yeah,
'07 used to be player wise. You know.
yeah. He's also just yeah he's just basically a celebrity. He was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I remember I actually this was like many years later. Uh, Found out that he actually does Twitch streams and he just plays like RS3, and actually apparently he's just a pretty big noob. Like
Yeah,
he's very
he's
very
like
casual player.
he's just like he just no life. Like he wasn't that impressive.
Yeah, I mean back then like people didn't know about like tick manipulation. People didn't know about like really efficient skilling for the most part. It was more or less lifed.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get high scores, you get no life. That's it.
Yeah, that and money. He didn't even have to make like he didn't have to. Oh, he just did his own thing. I mean,
Yeah, I mean honestly, if you're Zezima, like when construction came out, I think people probably would just donate to him.
oh, he definitely just got given loads of money, man.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he wasn't the first person to get 99 con that was cursed you, who, caused the Falador massacre inadvertently.
Yeah,
I wish I could have been around for that. I started a year after that. But that was some shit. Yeah,
I
I
mean, I
do.
wouldn't have been there anyway. So, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish I started a little bit earlier because like I started right in '07, which was like the peak people say, but once I actually started figuring out the game, it was like '08, '09. Free trade got removed. All this stuff happened, so a lot of my actual RS ended up being with like '09, '10. Where I actually played the most and understood the most. I do remember some good stuff. Like there were some good updates. Like I did enjoy Dungeoneering. I know it wasn't like the perfect skill or anything, but I remember just having loads of fun with it. I remember when it came out, I went to that place, Demonheimer, I think it was called.
Oh yeah,
and I would
Demon
just
Homo.
find random parties with random people. And there wasn't really Discord back then. At least I don't think so. So the main like voice chat app was Skype still. So we would add each other to Skype, and we would do like a 5-man dungeon, like in the noobiest way possible. Would be all communicating over Skype. It was just a lot of fun. I never learned how to do that skill efficiently. I think probably the efficient way was like very small dungeon solos in a certain order, probably. But I only got to like 50 or 60 dungeoneering. It was a good time though. Did you ever do dungeoneering?
Oh. I went to the place, but I don't think I ever. I think I like entered the first room, couldn't figure it out, and just didn't.
Yeah, I remember just having
And
a
I
lot of
could.
fun because I had relatively high like smithing and mining at the time, and so people were actually kind of wanting me because I could make the really high level armor. Like a bunch of noobs going in and they'd have me, which like I think somehow I at the time had like 85 mining, like maybe 90ish smithing, so I could make some decent stuff for them. I remember
Actually,
that.
looking at it, if I probably did Dungeoneering for like yeah, literally a floor because it was released just before I was hacked and quit. So,
Oh, when was that?
well, I was 11, so it was released in April 2010.
Yeah, I think I'm really lucky in that, I never, like, I never got hacked or lost my credentials for my account. Somehow I kept them throughout the years, and actually, my Frublocks account on OSRS, that's actually my original account that I made back in '07. So that's pretty cool, I think.
I got hacked because I only ever got hacked by people I went to school with. That was who people were just hacking each other because everyone's password was their first name.
Yeah.
And so it was like it wasn't very hard to figure out my password.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, for some reason, I don't know why, I was like 9 years old, 10 years old. For some reason, I thought it was like the biggest taboo to talk about RuneScape in real life. I thought it was just like, oh, people are gonna just make fun of you. I think that was like just a big general sentiment, right?
I
Like,
mean,
the
back then it was less of, but like when I started playing old school again, I remember a lot of my friends were just like, "Why the fuck are you playing that game?"
yeah, like people would make fun of it because of like the graphics and stuff, and people would say like, why aren't you playing something better like WoW or something? I remember WoW was like the big comparison.
Oh, nah, I don't think any of us played WoW back in the day because it was like you had to pay instantly to play, and I was just like, nah, no thank you.
Yeah, I think maybe it's more of an American thing, but definitely here, WoW was like when you compared. Like, I mean, there weren't that many other MMOs that were that popular, right? It was just
It
basically
was like
RuneScape and WoW.
Guide Wars, I think, as well.
Yeah, but there's like way smaller. Like, I don't even
Oh
remember
yeah,
those.
yeah,
But I did remember WoW, and I think I tried to play WoW, but then I realized you needed like a subscription, so I didn't
yeah.
play.
No, I no, that's exactly what happened to me. I downloaded it, got or tried to download it, and it was like, oh yeah, you have to pay this. You
Like
have to like,
I actually bought the CD thing you can buy in stores, and I tried to play it, and then it said you needed like a subscription. Like, dude, I already paid for.
oh man.
Yeah, I remember I got upset at that, and I was like, yeah, I'm not playing this.
I'd be upset about that. You don't. They did you dirty there.
Yeah, man. I mean, I probably should have read the package, but
Fuck reading them.
yeah. What was I talking about? So yeah, I remember like it was kind of taboo to talk about RuneScape, at least in my head at the time. So I remember I was like in grade school, and people in my class were like suddenly talked about RuneScape. They were talking about like the different kind of like metals you can smith in RuneScape, and like, oh, dude, you can make bronze from copper and tin, because as like a 10-year-old, that's like really interesting to you. You have no idea about that stuff. And so I remember talking about like, oh man, dude, these guys talking about RuneScape in real life. Even though I was like probably a higher level than them in RuneScape, I played more. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you eventually get over that, and now I just don't care. But for some reason, RuneScape was always just like the game you didn't want to be associated with. I don't think it was just
Nah,
me.
no, I think back then for us, like everyone in my like year played it. Like I remember we'd like print out like money making guides on the school computer, like as
Oh
a group.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you remember like those money making guides that people would actually like try to sell as like a physical book? You order it from the
Oh
website.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I actually bought one of those. It was like
Oh no.
$5. Yeah, it was just like the dumbest shit inside ever. It was like that cowl hide thing where you kill the cows, stand on
Yeah.
hides.
Is that where you got your tip?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's where it was from, and it had some other stuff, probably like what you can imagine, like mining iron, I guess, and smithing it. But yeah, man, people, and had the I think the cover had like some really rich player or whatever. He had like the party hat. He had like the 10 mil stack or the green stack of gold. So very enticing. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I don't know. You said you stopped playing, I guess, '09, right?
Uh, nah, 2010.
2010. I think that's when Dungeoneering was released
Yeah,
around
it
that
was it
time.
was it was it was around the same time. Like I think Dungeoneering had just came out just when I quit.
Yeah, I remember like the game kind of sucking for a while after free trade was removed, and the GE came out and stuff was kind of going downhill in my opinion. But I think there were a couple of good updates. Like I never did very much of it, but Bounty Hunter was always kind of interesting to me. I
When
did,
you say bounty hunter, do you mean like the volcano one or
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
free
like the
one?
OG, the OG Bounty Hunter.
Well, no, no, because it went like normal one, like wilderness one, then it went to the volcano, and then it went back to normal.
There were a bunch of iterations. I know. Yeah, I wasn't
I
ever a PKer though, so I didn't do much of it.
I thought it was like a mini game. Didn't really understand that I was losing shit.
I mean, it was a mini game, but you did lose
Yeah,
actual shit.
yeah, I guess it was a mini game. Yeah, I liked Fist of Gothits because they
Oh,
had
love that. Yeah.
do you remember the Berserker Shields? They were not much different, but they had fucking giant spikes on, and I wanted that so badly.
I remember people did Fist of Gothics because it gave you like best in slot like skilling things like the gloves or the tools, or maybe that was
Borders or
stealing
something.
creation. I think right.
Yeah, now Stealing Creation has uh was where you got the tools, I think, or some shit. I don't know. I never did that. I never touched any of that. I
Fist of
Fist of Gothits.
Gothics was like for the
I just
combat
want
stuff. I think.
I just wanted the spiky shield, man.
Oh yeah.
Never got it, but I wanted it.
I think I did play a bunch of stealing creation. I always loved it because one of my favorite things to do in the game was like cast ancients, especially like ice burst and stuff. And you could do that in stealing creation without actually having to use runes. So I was really happy.
I never got ancients. I never even got a dragon sim because I couldn't figure out the fucking puzzle bots, and I didn't know you could pay 100K.
I remember I figured out the puzzle box on my own because I didn't have 100K. That's how I
I
learned to
asked
do it.
I asked my dad to, and he just was like, nah. So, I just never got fucking monkey bad this time, just
Jesus.
never got ancients, but I loved Castle Wars. Castle Wars, oh man,
Oh, dude, I played
I
so
was
much
so
Castle
jealous.
Wars. I actually remember I played so much Castle Wars, and I was so envious of the people who had ancients that I actually, figured out how to get ancients. And I didn't have very much money, but I was casting like ice bursts on people. I actually started recording videos of myself playing at the time, and I think I still have some recordings of me playing Castle Wars back then. I might try to go look for that sometime. But it was pretty fun. Lots of people, dude, so many people played that back then day. It was like pack all the time. I don't think anyone plays it now, right?
What Castle Wars?
Yeah, besides like AFKing it.
There's still like a bit of a community. I remember I subscribed to a Castle Wars like community channel, and it was quite cool.
Yeah, but it's so niche now. Back
Oh
then, people
yeah,
would
I
just
mean,
do that because people found it fun.
oh yeah, it's nothing like it used to be. It used to be huge, but
I remember people would always get so salty at the people casting Ice Barrage. Because, like, when you're frozen, you feel like, oh man, I can't do shit. I'm just a melee.
did you ever watch So Solid 2K's
Oh,
max
dude.
hit montage? Be
Dude,
like,
I was about to say, I actually met So Solid 2K in the live game in Castle Wars. Or not in Castle Wars, but like outside in the lobby. And I remember
that's where he used to do it.
yeah, I remember I walked up to him and I was like, oh shit, are you the real So Solid 2K? And I remember he traded me. He traded me half of an evil onion, I think was the item. Some weird item. And then he just left. I was like, holy shit.
Did did you keep the evil onion?
If I check my bank, I think I might still have it, in RS3.
Man, that's been touched by a celebrity.
Yeah, dude. Never fucking dropping that item if I
That's
haven't
so
if I
that's
haven't
so
already.
Did he say yes, or did he just give you an onion and
I
like
don't
walk off
remember him
into the
saying
distance?
anything. I think he just traded me the half
He
of the
just
evil onion.
gave you half an evil onion and just walked off.
To this day, I
Yeah,
have no idea what that item is. Like,
I'm a dude.
you gonna Google it?
Yeah.
All right, let's
Uh,
see.
An evil onion.
I just remember because that was like my only interaction with an RS celebrity at the time. You know, I'd watched a bunch of like I
Are
used
you
to.
sure this? I did not see anything called half an evil onion.
It might not be half an evil one. It might be half. It was like half of something.
Oh, that's. There's a
It's
lot of things that could be half of, bro.
yeah, I know, but it was like some kind of plant, like onion thing.
Potato, cabbage, tomato, sweet corn, strawberry, watermelon,
I don't think
safra.
it's an item in OSRS. If
Is
that
it an
helps.
evil turnip?
Oh, evil turnip. That was what it was. Yeah,
Uh,
half an evil turnip. If that's an item.
I think it may be a third of an evil turnip.
Third of an
Even,
evil
bro.
turnip. Okay.
Yeah, it would be a third of an evil turnip. I have no idea what this item does.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh, it's from Soul Wars. Okay. Oh, that's not that
Oh,
interesting. That's a shame.
I guess it was just a piece of junk that he just decided to trade me for some whatever reason. Maybe he was just doing that to like anyone who was coming up and talking to him. It was like a joke.
You just an evil turnip.
Yeah, I don't know. People, there were some weird people back then, weird personalities. But I remember like I would watch lots of different RuneScape YouTube. I remember it was really different scene at the time. You know, like nowadays most people just have like a limited account series, or they have like some kind of like PKing max hit video or something. There was kind of the PKing video back then, but it was way different. Now back then it was like, do you remember those like paint RS videos where people would like use paint and draw out the scenarios and just like act stuff, and people would make songs and shit? Do you remember like Stop Using the Cry emote? If you ever watched that one,
Mm, I don't think so.
there would be I forgot who the guy was, but he made a bunch of like RuneScape like songs where he basically would play some existing song and he would just sing over it with RuneScape based lyrics, and he would add like visuals with like some guy playing RuneScape or whatever, but it was all drawn in paint. It was really funny. Did you ever watch Skychi? Any of his videos?
Nah.
I think I watched a couple of his videos, but like I think one of them was called something like "Things Not to Do While Playing RuneScape" or something, and it was just a bunch of random shit that people did that was annoying back in the day. Like people would flash their private on and off, so it would spam them logging in and out on their friends list, which is something I actually remember people. I don't think anyone did it to me, but I remember people were complaining about it. And other stuff like PKers killing people doing clue scrolls with no items in the wildy.
Man.
People were still
Do you
complaining
watch
about that.
the Tanoob show or whatever?
Oh, dude, I watched him so much. Yeah, that
No.
was like one of the biggest YouTube.
I
Uh,
liked the one where it was like the gods were like he played the gods as
yeah,
characters.
dude.
I used to like that shit, man.
Yeah, it's so dumb now if you look back at it, but back then that was like the prime RS YouTube
I
content.
think that was actually on Machinima, you know.
Yeah, Machinima was a thing, and they were doing the RuneScape.
But that was huge because Machinima was huge at the time. Like that was like the go like if your shit was on Machinima, that was goated. And
I
then
remember
like
when
yeah,
he got partnered with Machinima, like his quality went up so much. Like he put in so much, like different production values.
mm. I remember my favorite was yeah. So Solid did a little series where he would test each full barrow set at like just those different things like to see who would. It basically did like a challenge show between each barrows set. And it was
Hmm.
really interesting. So he was just testing every full barrows at like Bandos or Mythral Dragons or this and that.
Oh yeah, I remember that actually. I didn't watch too much of his, but I do remember his videos where he was testing stuff out.
Yeah, no, that was a cool video. And did you watch any RuneScape music videos back in the day, like
Oh, I watched
RSMDs?
so many, dude.
Bro,
Like,
that's how I got my original like music taste. Was that's how I got into like Linkin Park and AFI and a lot of things. Was just through a guy called Lucky Bucket. Was like my favorite for RuneScape music videos.
do you remember the "I'm Blue" music video? I think that was really famous. I'm blue, da ba dee ba da die, or something like that.
Oh well, I for 65 Blue. Yeah, I know the song. I
Yeah.
haven't actually seen the RS.
Oh, I think there were multiple because it was so famous that lots of people just started doing the same thing. And I also remember, what was it? Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Mr. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember that
No,
one?
no,
I
I was mainly on the rock side, honestly. Like,
Oh, I remember Rock
Like,
Lobster. If you're talking about that one,
no, I just mean like rock is in the genre, not like.
I just heard Rock and I was thinking of that.
I don't even know what that is.
Damn, bro, we watched a completely different set of RSMVs somehow.
Yeah, we were on the different side, man. Did you watch like the Barbie Girl one and the Venga Boys one? I did watch those, to be fair.
I think so. Yeah, those sound really familiar.
Yeah.
But I remember,
It
I
was,
remember it was such a fad at the time to make RSMVs that I actually tried making some myself, and I would just like
this is
stand in random places in the game, type out the song lyrics, and then try to splice the clips together, and it was a really big pain in the ass. Like I
I,
didn't want.
I wanted I wanted to do one for Flowrider Low, but I didn't understand recording software, so that wasn't happening.
Oh, dude, I was completely on the unregistered Hypercam 2 bandwagon.
There was not a chance that my laptop would have run anything.
It was
But
yeah, dude. It was really laggy. I think I have some like really old footage that I recorded, and it's just 10 frames a second or something. The
man,
shitty old PC.
but they put so much effort in those music videos back in the day. Like,
Oh yeah, they did a lot of different effects. They went to a lot of different locations. Like every little line, they were in a completely different part of the
yeah,
game or something.
they'd have like different outfits, different capes. They'd like splice, edit, and splice some boats, like make them appear different, and
They'd
like,
actually get like a bunch of their friends to,
oh yeah.
synchronize emote in there as well.
Yeah, and they'd have like storylines. I think they were great.
Oh,
It's a
what was one of them? It was like I'd walk 500 miles or something. I think
uh,
the one that did a video about that, and it was like the guy like walking through RuneScape, and he was like going through like Mauritania. He was going through Varrock and stuff like that, and he had like a backpack and stuff or whatever. I think it was the Avas.
hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Dude, there was so much stuff at the time, because like YouTube only came out like '06, so it was pretty new
Yeah.
ground for anyone. Did you watch anything else on RS YouTube? I'm trying to remember.
Uh, Not really. Like, I remember there was an interview with Zezima where he showed
Oh,
like
I
all
watched
of
that one.
the
Yes,
skill cape emotes and stuff.
it's like just the two guys sitting in the POH and they're just typing out
Yeah.
responses.
Yeah, that's the interview.
But dude, I remember
Uh,
everybody was so like interested in skill cape emotes. Like if you were wearing a skill cape, people would always ask you to do
oh,
the emote.
yeah, they'd be like, oh, emote please and shit.
Emote please.
I was just one of the people asking. I never, like, I remember
Oh, I
my
never had
biggest
a
request was
99.
like,
Yeah.
I got like a defender, I think. I was happy with my rune defender.
Yeah, because there was no Dragon Defender for quite a while, I think.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I remember like I never got a 99, but the closest I got was like 95 magic, and this was in like
Oh, no.
2012 or something. 2012 was like when I stopped playing, mainly because of EOC and just so I didn't really like the graphics updates. I thought like it was kind of sad that they were changing all the graphics from what I knew, and
Yeah,
also I just didn't
yeah.
like how they looked. Like I didn't like how the new armor looked way over detailed and stuff. And it was like really weird for a while because they would update some random NPC and everything else would just stay the same. So you'd have like really high detail one NPC and the others would just be like the '07 versions. Like you would have '07 dwarves and then you would walk by and just like your super high detail armor. I have some screenshots of that still, I think, somewhere.
Hmm. What did you play after? Like, after you quit?
I can't
Was
really remember. Um, I think I played just a lot of different games, or maybe I didn't play that many games. I did play in like 2017. I started playing Dark Souls 1, but obviously there's like a 5 year gap between then. I don't know, man. I think I just played a lot of different console games, to be honest. Stuff that I don't really remember.
Yeah. I think I got a 360 like that year, and that's when I got really into COD after, and I think yeah, then played RuneScape again for a while into old school when free to play came out.
Yeah, I kind of like. I sort of stopped playing in 2012, but it wasn't like all at once sort of thing. Because I remember when old school dropped, I was really excited and I played for like 2 weeks in old school, but I guess I just got bored or whatever. Because like early old school, there was not much going on. It was just sort of, hey, let's try this. And
There wasn't. I'm pretty sure there wasn't even God Wars like
no,
straight
no,
away.
God Wars came out later.
Man,
there was no updates to the game for like a whole year, and then the first update was Nightmare Zone, apparently.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, because like they had zero staff or anything, and they had no access to like a map editor even. So the reason Nightmare Zone is just a reskinned or reused KBD layer, and all the new armor and stuff was just reskins, like the Cursed Goblin staff.
Yeah. Did you ever do Nightmare Zone when you used to have to like pay one of those bots to like host like
No,
graphic
I
like
was completely absent. So I played for like the first 2 weeks, and then I only did like some fishing or
yeah.
whatever.
I think this was later. This would have been like yeah after Nightmare Zone, but there were like accounts made specific because it was before custom rumbles, so there was accounts specifically made with the quests that you'd want, and that
You
you
joined a
trade
party,
them.
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that, hearing about that.
and half the time they just wouldn't. But most still like then, but yeah, eventually you get in one, jump in.
No, I literally didn't start playing OSRS until summer of 2017. So yeah, I pretty much took a break from 2013 to 2017. The only
Yeah.
reason I came back was because some Dark Souls 1 players were moving on, like they stopped playing the game and they just moved on to RuneScape. There was like a couple of them. So I joined a Discord, and I think I got um, the Twitch Prime membership, because I think that was like one of the things, like, oh, maybe I'll try this. And that's how I got into it again. I've been pretty much playing ever since, apart from
Man.
my ban. Yeah. Wait, when did you
Yeah.
start old school? I don't think I actually know.
Some point after free to play came out, I just started with free to play,
Oh,
and then
that would
pretty
have been
quickly
like
got more.
2015, right?
Yeah, I think 2015.
All right, so you're much more OG than I am.
Yeah, man, I was around a bit.
Oh
I
man.
think I got into skilling after I don't know actually. So like I remember what happened was I was like casual PVM with my friend. His computer broke and he just didn't get a new one for like 8 months. So in that time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get Diary Cape to make I think I wanted I wanted RD Cape 4 to do Corp easier.
Mm-hmm.
Because Inferno didn't exist or any of that. So I think back then RDK was actually the best for it or some shit. So I was like, oh, I'll get that. And while doing that, I was like, oh, Stealin's actually kind of fun. And he still didn't come back to the game, so I kept going for it, and then just yeah, eventually just didn't stop.
Yeah, so I remember the when I got into old school again, it was because of that small group of Dark Souls 1 players. So I just wanted to do stuff like PVM with them, and one of the things was like Corp. So once I got my stats high enough, I grinded out Elite Void immediately, and I did like probably 20 Corp kills with them. And I remember I actually got an Arcane Sigil in my name, and then later on someone else got an Arcane Sigil while we were playing as well. So we got two Arcanes. I think we might have even gotten one Spectral. We got
Man,
insanely lucky on the drop rates. But I just remember it was really fun because I had like no bank or anything. So we split the Arcane, and it was like 80 mil at the time total.
yeah. I
Um,
didn't really make any money till I think Raids 1 was when like I took a break from I don't even know if it counts as chilling. I was still like maxing, but like I took a break for a bit and just well, actually I never met so but my version of mets, but I took a break from that to just do raids for like 2 weeks, and I got a few press rolls and they were just worth so much. I just and then yeah, I think
I think
I was
how I got into scaling was sort of towards the end of 2017, so like maybe October, September, whatever. I was really wanted to make a lot of money because I remember having decent amount of money on RS2 once I figured out how to like do flipping and stuff. But I didn't want to do flipping again. I heard about this thing like, hey, you can play a separate account on the side and all basically, and you can make some money. And I was like, oh, that sounds really good. And of course, my first thought was like, I'd seen the Link's Titan videos where he's like got the RC alt with like, what is it, like 60 mil XP or something. I was like, all right,
yeah.
let me do double deaths. I think that's a good idea. So I literally made an entire alt. I did all the way through Morning's Ends Part 2, which took forever. And then I just started training runecrafting using single deaths. And I actually got to like 71, 72 rune crafting on that account before I decided, this isn't really making very much money. Um, and that's when I decided to do something else. And one of the things I was trying to do was like, all right, I really like doing Hunter because it was making me quite a lot of money. I was like figuring out how to do black chins and stuff. So I was like, hey, why don't I just go for 99 Hunter at black chins? So I think I spent all of December pretty much working on that. And I think I actually got 99 on New Year's Day, like as it turned New Year's or whatever. And so after that, I was just running the ruse at Artie, trying to figure out what to do next. And I was looking at all the skills, and I was like, I really don't feel like doing anything else. Let me just go do some more Hunter and see how that feels. So I did up to like 20 mil XP. And once I hit 20 mil XP, I was like, if I just repeat this for quite a while, I could just get 200 mil and make a shitload of money. So I pretty much decided to do that. I got the alt there. I figured out how to do the alt shooting method. I figured out how to do the one tick. I think like a month later after I started, people figured out how to do like the alt reset method. So I incorporated that into my method as well. But yeah, I was basically that was my first time ever doing any kind of major skilling. And I just stuck it to it. And I finished about August, I believe, of that year. So, I started in 2018, January, and I finished in August. And that was how I got into skilling, basically. The rest is, pretty much me just doing fishing after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, it was kind of a really interesting experience for me at the time, because I'd never done any long-term goal like that in RS. Like, I never even had a 99 in all my years of playing the original game. And so now all of a sudden I had gotten 99 Hunter, and then I was going to do way more than that. I was going to do 200 mil. So I remember like I was talking to my friends at the time, the Dark Souls 1 people, and they were just thinking, I was like, yeah, there's no way you're going to finish it. There's, it's such a huge goal. And then as I was getting further and further, like I was like getting to 60 mil, 70 mil, 80 mil XP, they're like, holy shit, that's actually really cool. And yeah, I remember actually getting 200 mil. That was awesome because I really wanted to join the skilling clan at the time, but I didn't have the recs for anything because I pretty much just started skilling. And so I think I managed to get a Smiley in Solace, right? I think Smiley in Solace.
I mean, you were in Vision, and yeah, you were.
I was in Vision because I couldn't get into any of the big skilling clans, yeah. So I literally went on the forums and I just looked for skilling clans that had easy recs, and I found Vision. I was like, all right, let me just join that. And that was that. I was in Vision for a while, and I was like rank 1 in Vision because literally no one else played. And there was Kaiman, of course, the OG Kaiman, who was I think he was going on quite a few binges. Because I remember at one point he was just like, no one had talked to him for months, and then we found out he was in like the mental hospital or something. Very crazy times. But yeah, I was in Vision for a while, and then as I was starting to get like higher Hunter XP, like 80 mil, 90 mil, I think I managed to get a Smiley in Solace. And then I think I actually got one banana probably after I finished Hunter, to be honest, because I don't think I had enough EHP for one banana otherwise. I don't remember what the rec was. Do you know at the time?
It was top 1k EHP.
Top 1k? Yeah, I don't think I had top 1k. Because I think Hunter is not that much EHP, so like 200 Hunter is like 800 EP or whatever. It was inflated for actually a really long time, I remember. Because I remember I did like Fantasy in 2018 while I was doing Terminal Hunter. And I did like a 6 hour of Hunter, and it was like 7.5 EHP or something. It was crazy inflated because people weren't really sure at the time that the method that I was doing was like viable. It wasn't updated on like CML. And yeah, people were still using the regular 3-tick Hunter at Red Chins as EHP. But eventually that got fixed, so that was good. So yeah, did you already? I think you already mentioned how you got into scaling. Do you want to mention how you got into Solus? I guess.
Uh, I was just looking for like I was in SJSE and I was just interested in. I think I joined SJSE as like a mid. I found SJSE because I looked at the skilling cup results from like, and there was Hexis, then Sardis, then I think Cesars, then SJSE.
Slay stars. Let's go. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll join SJSC with the and like I was like, oh, I'll join I'll either join Solace or Hexus eventually.
Do you know what
And
the
then
smiley rec was for Solus at the time? Was there even a rec?
I think it was 2K HP.
2K? Yeah, I don't think I had that. Way far from that.
But yeah, so I eventually after like ages of trying, Hexus channel became Hexus, Omnia became a thing, and out of the clans I was like at the time it was like Alex, Riley, Danis, Oi, and people. And I was like, oh, they seem like people I would get on with the best. So I
When
applied
did
for
you join?
Solace.
What year?
2018. Let's say 2018.
Oh, so actually same year as me then. Because I joined in
Trying
2018 as well.
to figure out. I can't search my own like. I'm trying to search Twitter for it, but it's trying to impossible because I can't use Twitter. But yeah, I think maybe 2017 then.
Maybe 2017. All right, because yeah, I think you were already in by the time I joined. That's how we actually knew each other through Solus TS. Yeah, TeamSpeak was awesome for me. That's like the main thing I was looking for. I just want to be in a voice chat with like people actually skilling, and then obviously in Vision since no one actually played. There wasn't any of that.
No, TeamSpeak was great. I think TeamSpeak is definitely what I was like. I think there was a TeamSpeak summer where I just watched films most nights with a lot of people. That
Mm-hmm.
was
Yeah.
that was really fun. Like I think that's partly why it's trying to. I'm at the point now where I just drop but I was just like I kind of just look back at that summer and I'm just like, yeah, I miss it. Like everyone's trying to quit, finished or gone. So
Yeah, like all the OG people are either 200 mil or they're just done with the game. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely not the same as it was back then. Quite a few years have passed. It's already 2022, man. I can't believe it.
And we watched so much anime. Like I think it was 2018 summer,
Yeah,
or
dude.
maybe
Because I was doing Tunnel Hunter and I was just looking for stuff to pass the time. I remember I would just watch anime with lots of people in TS, including you. I
I
think,
probably watched like a month with you, like based off just my anime list.
yeah. I remember I watched like an entire series in one sitting with Seanbei. I think it was Resonance of
Your
Terror.
one and only.
Yeah, yeah, with Seanbei. I don't remember what he was doing in game at the time, but I was doing Black Chins. And one notable thing I remember is um, like midway or like late way through the anime, a huge team piled on me, and I remember I got full TB'd. I was like doing this tank, and I was like, "Hold on, man, can we pause the anime? I'm trying to tank here." He's like, "All right." So he was just like quietly waiting while I was doing actually a pretty hard tank. It was like one of the best teams that had actually gotten onto me. But luckily at that point, I had pretty much max setup. I had like the Ellie and stuff. I had like the most amount of brews, I think, because I managed to figure out how to only use one box trap in the event. And I managed to survive the tank, but it was really close. I just remember thinking throughout the whole tank, like, no, please don't let me die on voice while I'm watching this show. That would be awful.
I remember one time I wanted to get back into Hunter and I couldn't. I was in bed with a laptop on trackpad doing black chins.
Dude, yeah, I remember that.
And I died twice in like an hour because I was just like I didn't have F keys, I didn't have a mouse, so I just didn't change my prayer. I just got fucking stacked. Like
Yeah, personally, I think Hunter was the my favorite time in RS. It was just the skill I enjoyed the most. Obviously, I did 200 mil fishing right after, but I AFK'd so much of it because I was just busy. And honestly, fishing's okay, but I know it's not as interesting. Like I miss the thing about Like it's annoying when you get interrupted at black chins, but it's also kind of fun that you're at any time a team could just get on you and you'd have to go tank for a while. It kind of made things interesting. So you actually appreciate when it's quiet, and then when it's not, you get to take a break from Hunter, I guess, by tanking. So I
I
definitely
think
miss that.
for me, I don't really miss a single skill. It's more the things that I miss of what I was doing with the skill, I guess, for me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I miss the OG, like being in TeamSpeak all the time
Like
and just sort of
I
getting
miss
new to skilling.
yeah, I miss like what I was doing like at around but yeah, I don't think any of this all the skills kind of blended into one,
Well, I
mainly
mean,
the
you
ones
did
that I
like
just did.
thieving and cooking, so I won't
I
really blame you.
yeah. I mean I'm also talking about like I did a bit of hunter, I did a bit of like agility craft and all that. They were all just mush at the time. It was just like, oh, whatever I could do to watch anime.
Oh, dude, I
Or
had so much agility and like melees because I was like starting work towards the end of 2018. I was doing like 3 days a week, and every day I would just set myself in nightmare zone and keep myself there all day. So I had like 120 something mil strength XP, had like 90 mil attack, and then I remember once uni started, I would actually just do RD the RD roost while I was doing schoolwork, and I got like 90 mil agility XP really fast, and I was like, I'm gonna not do that anymore because I'm gonna run out.
I think Chrome Remote was the only reason, like, was just such a huge discovery for me. Even like, I
Yeah,
still occasionally use it for just other things that I need to do when I'm like out. Like, I'll just use it to access my laptop, and it's been a useful thing to find. But it really did help because at the time when I was using it the most, I was just working like this pretty boring bar job, and it made the shift go so much quicker. And it was just like, yeah, it's something I had. Yeah, I've got like 150 mil hit points at
oh,
speed.
I
I
was
just
a
got like,
Chrome remote addict, man. Like
oh
I
man.
would always check that shit every fucking 20 minutes to make sure I'm not logged out. I would always
Right.
like make sure I'm doing something in nightmare zone before I go do something IRL. I was like on top of that shit.
I was doing it when we were in Tokyo.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't
I
bother.
remember, I
I didn't. I
remember, I
didn't because I
remember.
was banned at the time, but maybe I would have.
I did it from the Sky Tree, so like that's one of the highest stood Chrome remotes probably. Like
Yeah, man.
I'm
Probably
pretty
set a
sure it's the
world
second.
record.
I think it's like the second biggest structure in the world. So yeah, I mean, unless someone's been to the top of the Burj Khalifa or whatever.
Done Chrome remote. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
then
Chrome remote was really nice. I did when I was doing fishing. I had a lot of school, so I would basically take my phone, and at the time, mobile was out, so I was just mobile fishing, and I remember I really hated it because, like, if you close out or not close out, but like you switch to another app for like 10 seconds, uh, the RuneScape app would just close, and you'd
oh,
have to
the
log
mobile
in
apps.
again. And you didn't have the one tap login either. You had to actually type in your login credentials every time. And also, just it's really hard to click. And with fishing, if you're not paying attention for like a minute, you're already not fishing, like the spot moves or something. It was just awful. So I really hated it. But I did so much of it just because I was just sitting in lectures and it'd be something to do. I probably shouldn't have, but I did it. I think I gave up on it towards the end of fishing, though.
Actually, being honest, I think my favorite time was 200 mil cooking. I fuck it, that was the most brain dead thing I've ever done in my life.
What did you
I
do?
just, oh man, I cooked anglers
Oh, yeah.
and played experts. It was amazing. I like 100%ed Assassin's Creed 1 to 4. Played a few, I think 100% in Borderlands 2 and stuff. Well, maybe not 100% on Borderlands 2, which is it's a hard thing to 100%, but just like it was, I loved it. It was just over summer. I just slapped the shit out of experts and just cooked anglers. It was amazing.
I think towards the end of 2018, I had been fishing for like 2 3 months maybe, and I was getting so burnt of the game that I would literally just AFK fish all day, and I would play PS4 because like my PS4 is like right next to my PC, and I would just play loads of games, and every now and then I would just click and drop because it's so easy when you're on the PSC. You can just
Yeah.
put like something on your shift key and just click the screen whenever you need to drop. It was lovely.
Yeah,
It's
no, that's what I liked about RuneScape was you could just trying to play it with other things, but I think that kind of got me to the point where I didn't actually like playing it by itself.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
all.
like doing Hunter was really fun, but it takes a lot of time because you need to be 100% focused, basically, especially because you're out in the
Yeah.
wilderness. So, especially, unfortunately, I got into RuneScape at kind of a bad time. Like before 2017, I had been really, really free, especially on summers. But after 2017, I started doing loads of stuff like working during school. I even started doing like work during the summers as well. So 2018, I was working full time basically in the summer when I got my 200 mil hunter. So yeah, I never did any big months or weeks or anything. So maybe it would have been better if I had gotten into it like 2015. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else. We've been going for quite a while. If you want, we can keep going, but do you have
I'd,
anything else?
I'd say we're good, man. Like,
Yeah, I just
like,
basically wanted to make a
oh,
video where just kind of go into how we got started in RS and I guess OSRS as well.
yeah. Little reminisce, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was like really good times. I will say one thing though, that OSRS is just a completely different thing to RS, and I don't think it's the game's fault. Honestly, I used to think it was the game's fault because they added like a bunch of updates, but I think even if it was literally pixel perfect copy of '07, like it was when it released, um, it would just be completely different. Because now you just know so much about the game, and you're older, and you can just look stuff up, and you know how to actually play properly. I
I
mean,
think just how people play games and how yeah and how people use the internet has changed to the point yet that yeah like because I think even if they hadn't updated it, third party clients would still have existed. Like the people play games a lot more intensely and just better
yeah, like
now.
back then, I think RuneScape was so popular because the idea of like this virtual world where you could talk and interact with people and while you play the game was actually still pretty new. Like MMOs weren't such a huge thing yet, especially not the kind that RuneScape was, where it was more less about combat and less and more about just like account progression and skilling and other things. Like I don't think WoW you do much like near as much as skilling, right? It's completely different.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I think WoW is just a lot of combat from what I've
I
seen,
think
but obviously I never
it's like
played it.
raids,
Yeah, like
really.
more like raids, what you have in RuneScape now.
Yeah.
But people, yeah, I mean, people just knew a lot less. People cared a lot less. Like people would get on RS just to basically talk to other people and just like hang out in clan chats and do activities with friends. Like people, uh, when people did God Wars, they always did it in teams and stuff. It wasn't like now where pretty much you just solo almost every boss except for Theater of Blood. And that wasn't because like it was still more efficient to do it solo probably back then, but you needed to be higher stats, which not many people had, and you also needed like
It's probably just too risky back then because like the death
that's true,
mechanics
that's
meant
true.
that
Yeah,
like
if you died at God Wars, your stuff was gone. It was really risky to
yeah.
bring expensive items there.
It's also I doubt anyone was really prayer flicking back then either. So
Oh,
it's
nobody
like
knew about
soda
player
win.
flicking back then. I
The
can.
soda win would just be a bit shit, and yeah, you'd be very likely to die, and then that you're fucked. So I guess that's the main.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the social aspect was a lot because you couldn't socialize through TeamSpeak or Twitter or Discord like you can now. So the best way to socialize was be there with people.
Yeah, and if you
Whereas
needed
now,
something, you'd post on forums or Zybez, before the
yeah,
GE. Uh,
I literally until GE became a thing, I did not interact with any players really.
if I started earlier and like I got used to the game, I would have definitely done like Zybez and shit, and sold stuff in Varrock West like people did. I think it was just me being too newbie at the time, but I really enjoyed the idea of that. I know it just wasn't popular, especially nowadays, because people were so used to the GE. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's really cool because like you need to now like even when you play main, there's really no reason to interact with other people.
Well, yeah,
You
it's
can
just
do everything by yourself and your alt.
like there's some PVM that you still do in group, but apart from that, almost everything's not.
Yeah, like even Chambers of Xeric, it's better to do solo pretty much. Like there's really efficient solo methods now. Like Theater of Blood is probably the only one that I can think of that you really need a team.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, like they could make the content so where you need teams, but I think people would just get upset because they couldn't solo it. because people are so
Yeah.
used to it. So
I mean,
it's
it's like with Nightmare, they brought out that solo one like a year after the original one because actual solos were AIDS, so they made a really easy solo one that's just way more consistent because people didn't want to find teams.
yeah. I mean, like no one's used to it. Like in other MMOs, like getting in a team to kill something is so ubiquitous, but here it's just like most people are expected to do something on their own. Especially because now
Yeah.
we have an entire game mode called Iron
Oh
Man.
yeah. Iron Man has definitely changed a
I,
lot of things.
I used to think that Iron Man changed the game a lot, but I think what really happened is Iron Man is just a reaction to how easy the main game got and how solo the main game already was. That might as well just make it official. Have a
I
game
mean, yeah,
mode where
well,
you actually just play by yourself.
I remember watching Boaty doing like single player RuneScape, and I fucking loved watching that. So like, yeah, Iron Man was just, but it's natural. Everyone, I mean, every game has ways to make things more and more restrictive. Like, I think I've been playing a lot of Borderlands, so I'm gonna use a Borderlands example. Someone just completed an insane thing where he got every single character to max level, which is 3 playthroughs of each character, without dying once on any of the 6 characters, which is just insane. And like, so there's always going to be restrictive ways, like just like speed runs, they have restrictions in this like that. I think because games are made to be done by everyone usually, so you got to find a way to make it more restrictive and more challenging.
Yes, challenge mode and speedruns are a huge thing in Dark Souls, for example. Like people I think someone did a no-hit run of like the whole series, like 4 different games back to back to back, or something insane like that. Like literally that game, there's like very little RNG in that game, so you can, if you're really good, you can just time it so that you dodge every hit. But it's really hard to do and not mess up for so many hours.
You know much about Pokemon, like the game currently? Like, have you heard of Nuzlocke?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, just I think that's a good example as well. It's just yeah, Pokemon was too easy, so they made Nuzlocke, and Nuzlocke is they are horrible. And then there's you can get ROMs of like the harder versions, like Renegade Platinum, etc. Just it's horrible. It's you just reset so often. I love it.
Yeah, so I think overall they kind of did the right thing for OSRS. Like they did what they did to make the game popular. I just think that the actual number of people who want to play like an 07 still are just not. It's not enough people, man, to sustain the whole game. It's the sad fact. I mean, there's still like some private servers out there where people try to do that, but they're like so small. Like there's an RS Classic private server with like 10 people playing it at any given time.
Nice.
It's just very very small group of people. I don't know. I think it's okay, but you just have to kind of accept that it's a completely different game at this point. It's like the same base, but everything else feels different.
Yeah.
Like the actual OS, or sorry, the actual old school, the '07 game back then. It was very hard to play, like as people realized when they released the game in 2013 again. And there was so much like stuff that was basic quality of life these days that wasn't there, but no one really cared. Like the game was still massively popular back then. I think that just goes to show people didn't care as much about the gameplay. People cared more just about finding ways to have fun in the small selection of online MMOs that they had available to them. So I mean that's basically it. Like, wanted to add that note because I've been thinking about it for a while.
Cool. I think it's time to say goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll probably be doing some more ramble videos, although they might not be RS related.
I don't think that'll be RS related after.
I mean, unless I think
Like,
of something, but you have some
yeah,
topics,
if you
right?
can. Yeah, I want to talk about Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, like other games and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll keep an eye out for those. Yeah, thank
yeah,
you for listening if you did.
yeah. Thanks a lot.